going on, y'all? This is Smoking at the Movies, and I'm Chris Hall, and I'm joined by Nikki. What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Man, we watched Moonrise Kindgom, a movie that I've enjoyed, but I didn't realize that I've fallen asleep almost every time I've seen that movie because the entire third act I did not remember, and it was a new experience for me. So that was kind of
How did you
cool.
fall asleep on this amazing movie?
Well, it's one of those movies when you smoking and like when you by yourself, it's really easy with the music and like the atmosphere to lull yourself to sleep.
Yeah, I could kind of catch that vibe. The music was really like, it was going really good with the movie.
And it was like of the era, which I thought was cool.
Definitely.
But like when you I was watching it with you taking notes and whatnot. So I guess I was looking for more things, and then I caught some stuff that I didn't really realize the first time through.
Agreed. Me as well.
So I'm gonna read the synopsis real quick, the little mini plot, and then we can start going into our favorite moments and all that. So, the year is 1965 in my narrated voice, and the residents of New Penzance, an island off the coast of New England, inhabit a community that seems untouched by some of the bad things going on in the rest of the world. 12-year-old Sam and Susie have fallen in love and decide to run away, but a violent storm is approaching the island, forcing a group of quirky adults to mobilize a search party and find the youth before calamity strikes. And it was directed by Wes Andersen. So yeah, where do you want to start? What was the first thing?
Let's get into it. What do you know about Wes Andersen?
Well, I know that Wes Anderson's movies all have a similar tone. Like there's comedy in them. All of their protagonists, like quirky is the best word to describe them because they're not normal. Like each one has something that makes them stand out. But because he has an ensemble cast of so many of these people, like the stories he tells, like that's why they stand out to me. And he gets strong actors. It's not about, like for Iron Man or even Scarface, there's one consistent protagonist that the story is focused on. And with this movie and his movies, it's about everybody telling that story. Did
we even say the name of the movie?
Yeah, Moonrise Kindgom.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. It came out in 2012, correct?
Yes, it came out in 2012. Okay. And it was pretty critically acclaimed. And I think that like this is one of the first movies I've seen like Oscar bait, so to speak. And this is one of the first ones that I've seen when I can see why it would be nominated.
This is my first time ever seeing this movie, and I just thought it was so amazing. Like, it had all these kid actors. They were doing, like, an amazing job.
The kid actors were so strong. That's what sold me on the movie in general.
Right.
But I had this note, like, the way that they use cameras in the movie, I think is really effective. Like, it's a whole bunch of close shots. And
far shots as well.
Right. Like,
so it's like, what do they use?
It's like, see, that's the thing. Because so many of the shots are long and like they'll start close up and then pan out. So I would think that they use like one or two cameras because like the way the editing goes, you don't really get many other angles. It's always kind of a straight on angle. So I think like that's like a mark that makes him unique as a filmmaker. And like the camera moves with the actor. Like something, what made me write that down is when they go to Sam Shakusky's tent, the kid, and he's looking around. Ed Norton is looking around at the maps, and he jumps down, and the camera jumps down with him. Like suddenly, I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, that was definitely dope. I caught on to that too. You don't see that a lot lately,
right? There are. I think that like directorial style is being lost because there's so many action movies with CGI, and there's 15 characters on screen,
right?
And I thought that, like, with the cameras, like, the way they did phone calls was cool. Like, they kept everybody in frame during the entire phone call. So when someone says something, you instantly see the other party's reaction.
I did catch on to that.
Like, at the end, when social services lady who was not playing was talking about shock therapy and all that.
Yeah.
Their looks, like, that, to me, sold that scene.
It had to, and that was the only thing that I was going to because it was based off a phone call. So it was like if you weren't going to show both sides, then there was no point of even showing it. So I grasped onto that.
Like how we saw the inside of the foster home. for most of the movie, and we only saw the outside one time for like 3 or 4 seconds. And so my next note, I think is funny. Weak ass dog. So when all the khaki scouts are walking out, I just saw this as close up of a dog, and he just looks like a bitch ass dog. Like he just looks like a dog that can't pick up the news, like too weak to pick up the newspaper type shit.
Oh my god.
So that's just something that stood out to me. I had to put that out there, man.
Why did that?
Nah, get y'all some strong dogs, man. Like stay with a strong dog, please.
Stay with a strong dog. Get you a big dog.
Thank read my mind.
Something that's gonna like run up on somebody real quick.
But my next note that I think applies to the whole movie is how like the way that everyone speaks to each other is like era specific. I thought that was cool. It didn't seem dated, but it definitely you knew it was taking place in 1965.
Yeah, I could see that, but it wasn't too old either. Like yeah, like you said, I agree with you. Like it was more updated.
Like it caught the energy of the era, but it still told a story
In 1965.
Like Fences, I love Denzel, but you are watching a stage play that they doing like. Yeah,
that's why it only stayed in that one area.
Yeah, bro.
I felt like.
Shout out Fences, incredible black actors. Please don't come for me.
Right.
Yo, the Washington family is powerful, man.
Powerful.
I don't want the smoke. But and the next thing I read now is real travel pack in all caps. Like that little 12-year-old boy had on something that had to be weighing half his body
He definitely
weight.
did. This man pulled out a whole pot to make them something to eat. Like, where did you get that pot from?
Bruh,
where?
And speaking of that scene, when he's cooking, so right before, he's seeing if he can catch a turtle, and he picks up the turtle, and somebody's written on the turtle, like, oh, we're talking about that turtle, and she's like, I got a tug. Bruh, the turtle's name was Albert. He chucked Albert so quick, y'all.
Threw him right back. He didn't even care.
Clunk.
He said, pull it in slowly. Pull it in slowly. Make sure you get that food, because we hungry.
Right. Like, yo, this turtle can go, bruh. And what's my next note say? Oh, then we get the flashback. Then we go back to 1 year earlier, and we find out. Earlier. So these two kids ran away together, but we get to find out how they ran away
and why.
And why.
Because I was so confused.
Right? How did they meet? How did they know? Right, like, there's no Tinder in 1965. You can't just be swiping right.
Right. But they lived on that island.
And that's the thing I wasn't clear on, is if the kid lived on the island all the time, because it was definitely clear that foster home wasn't near wherever they was at. So where's that kid from? You know? Like, how did they find that island to send him?
And see, that was my first point. Him being an orphan. He was definitely an orphan. And they didn't make it clear how he got there. But then he has these foster parents that don't even really care for him no more because he's a troubled kid. And that's ultimately why they ran away together, because they're both troubled kids and they didn't feel loved. And I felt like that was the ultimate message. Like, just go with your heart.
And they communicated it really well.
They did. Like they were like, ooh, the bond was so strong. Like, you couldn't tell them nothing. Like, you could say, we're not going to see each other, or y'all not going to see each other.
But we are.
Yes,
right.
we are.
But, like, the way that they communicated adult emotions, like, of understanding. Like, when he wrote to her that, you know, your parents still love you, although they are X and Y way towards you. Like, how many 12-year-olds have that, you know,
how many 12-year-olds have pen pals? What?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But in 1965, I feel like the pen pal
like
number,
the social media, the IG.
How else do you communicate?
Right.
Because there's one phone in the house.
One phone.
Rotary at that.
Terrible.
Damn. I was just thinking, this is fucked up. But there were no black people on that island. That's why everything was cool. They had to deal with no race relations.
At all.
At all.
There were no black people.
They didn't seem racist, but they didn't have to. They didn't even have to consider it.
Right.
It's like Britain.
That's crazy.
So I thought it was cool, like the way they met. The khaki scouts are watching a play, and what was weird to me is he hops up with purpose. And at first I'm like, where the fuck is he going? Like.
Right,
because like, he dips back in, like he's dipping and like hiding and dodging, and I'm like,
how do he know?
At first, I'm like, he could be a curious kid, but he's walking in a direction. Like if you're curious, you're looking everywhere.
He's going to find something, and
then
he knows where it's at.
I realized that he saw her on stage. So he comes in. There's some girls like they're all sitting in front of this mirror. He says, "What kind of bird are you?" And then this big girl on the left said, "Well, I'm a dove," and so and so on the left, she's
was like,
she's a
"No."
cockatoo or whatever. And he's like, "Nah." I mean, what kind of bird are you in the middle? Like,
and pointed directly at her.
He was choosing. And she said she's a raven, which I think represented her character in that moment.
Right.
Like how she was like I think people think of ravens as like ugly birds, like different birds than like eagles or like a sparrow.
But she had to be that bird because she had got into it with her instructor or her teacher.
Oh yeah, she got downgraded.
Yeah, so she had to be that, and then he still liked her. So that's what really caught her attention. That was crazy.
I thought that was dope, man. And like
Shawty next to her was hating though.
Yo,
boys are not allowed in here.
and no, he didn't miss his step. He's like, I'll be leaving soon.
Right.
It's cool, Shawty.
Give me some time. I'm gonna tell her what I need to say.
Yo, I'm gonna shoot this shot.
Right. And ain't nobody stopping me
at all. So moving, and then like next we get to see like during that montage we get to see what her home life is like with Bill Murray and like the rich, and they're both lawyers, which I didn't catch before.
I didn't either. I really thought that they were like, I wouldn't say, I don't know.
Well, at the end, that's why on the walkie-talkies they were arguing the case from two opposing sides.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I thought that like the mother, a really cool addition to the character was the megaphone. Like it underlined how strict and how tightly wound she was at home, you know, versus the woman who was sharing a cigarette with Bruce creeping ass Willis.
Right. She was definitely creeping.
But like when you see, like it's weird. It's like her family doesn't know the real her.
Susie does.
Yeah, Susie saw through that.
Susie saw
she was up
everything.
peeping with the binoculars.
Yes, she saw everything. So Susie knows what her mother was doing, but nobody else knew, and everybody else didn't like her. The three little boys or her brothers didn't like her.
Hold on, we need to talk about those three. Like they look like three adults in kids' bodies. They all had grown man faces.
They definitely did, and their hair was like slicked back and to the side.
I'm just glad
so cute.
that I don't have any children on the way, because this would definitely make them look like that, and I can't have no like. I can't have no, one going on 1 or 500-year-old son. Mm-mm.
That is funny. That's so funny.
And so I think that, and that we get to see, after they run away, Bruce Willis rides in the car with Bill Murray. And Bill Murray is, of course, Susie's father. And that's an awkward car ride, because Bruce Willis thinks that he's a smooth criminal. And they're talking about his family, and Bill Murray's family. He says, "How's Laura?" And Bill Murray hits him with the house. Nigga, what?
What? Don't call her her first name.
Right. Excuse me, Mrs. I'm forgetting his first name. Mrs. Right. And then he says something about the weather or something like that, like right afterwards, and in complete silence. That struck me because everybody has had a conversation like that. Everybody. Not about a cheating spouse, but everybody has had a conversation that level of awkward where you run out of shit to say. You just got to sit there.
Right.
I think that like the alienation is a theme in this movie, because everyone feels separate from everyone else. Like the Scoutmaster is separate, and although he doesn't say that, it's clear that he feels like an outlier in the Khaki Scouts. He's out on this island. When you look at his shit compared to like the USC campus they had over at like the other forts,
it was definitely different.
And then you got Bill Murray, who like is just being Bill Murray throughout the movie. I feel like they didn't even give him lines. It's like you just say what you want to say.
Just be a crazy person.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
He was crazy this whole movie.
I thought that was
him
tight.
This way, but it was dope.
That's kind of his character in all of Wes Anderson's movies.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like this ad-libbed, kind of like it might be written. I wrote down Bill Murray is Bill Murray in this movie. Like I feel like that's who he's playing. But the cop feels alienated because I think that like I didn't realize how single they made him out to be. You know? Because at first you just see him creeping, and then you don't know what his life is like. But then when you see him,
and he takes the kid to the
but it was the way he fed the kid that underlined how much of a
Yes,
how much of a bachelor. Like you can't even get a
piece
plate
of
for yourself.
bread
First
and
of all,
a
it's a
hot
piece of
dog.
bread and a hot dog, and then you can't even get a plate for yourself. And then I realized that the movie's also set in '65 because when he poured the 12-year-old like a slug of beer, I'm like,
Right.
yo.
But that the social services lady, she asked him, she said, "Are you gonna be able to feed him?" He said, "Uh-huh." She was like, "Is that a yes or a no?"
Yeah,
He was like, "Uh-huh."
You know, that's when you know when somebody asks you what you got to eat and you thinking about it because
Right.
you going through your fridge in your head.
Right. They ain't have food stamps back then.
Right. But when the kid
He
was
needed them.
but not like what made me think of his singleness is when the kid was on the bed and then you seen him laying on the floor with a pillow. Like
nothing
damn,
else to lay
you ain't
on.
got no room.
No couch.
No, like you don't have no people in your life. Like you got 2 rooms and you're on an island. Rent cannot be that expensive. I'm just saying.
Probably like $30.
And can we talk about these Terminator ass kids when they're on the run? So they get the entire like group of khaki scouts to find them, and they get deputized by Bruce Willis. And these kids do not like Sam Shakusky. They're like, I'm not gonna be the one without a weapon. They're like,
Right.
I'm about to have a thing on me.
They're gonna like fight him and gonna beat him up and all this crazy stuff. Like,
And then they meet them.
and then they run off with them.
But it was so fire how you learn the action of the scene after it happened. Like that made it more funny instead of seeing how it went down.
I agree. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I feel like they loved each other.
Oh yeah,
They just didn't like the type of person that he was because he was different.
and
Not
they
gonna
came
lie.
around.
Yeah, they did come around.
But I thought it was funny how like the kids still talk like adults. Shakusky's marksmanship is excellent. He hit DeLuca in both arms.
That was funny. Yeah.
Bro, you 12. You supposed to say ow. That's your line. Ow.
But they're scouts, so
Yeah.
like this is the stuff that they were taught. So that's how they're gonna talk. They're gonna know
That's
how to
true.
survive out there. Like, so it was nothing for them to be gone for 10 days in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And he wanted to marry Susie, so it's just like I'm gonna do what I have to do for my baby girl.
That's the truth.
Yep.
Well, while we talking about that, we have to talk about the one white privilege moment of the movie.
But why?
Well, they're standing there, and Sam says, "This is our land," and then she says, "Yeah, this is our land." I'm like, y'all some white people in America. This is the last thing that this is y'all's land, for real.
Oh, I didn't
just
even
thought that
catch
was
on
funny.
to that.
Yo, I thought that was
Oh
funny.
my gosh! By the way, I'm black and white, so definitely did not catch on to that.
No, I just thought that was funny. In
It was
65, yeah.
Wow,
And
she
so-
didn't know what to say. She was just like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm. So they keep spending time together and getting to learn about each other, and then you see that this kid is really an incredible scout. Like of all of them, he's got the best survival skills.
Yes. Let's talk about how after they jumped in the water, talking about this my land, they hung up their clothes and started touching on each other.
Oh yeah, that was really weird. Still really,
Yes.
really weird. So
They
like
was
there's music
kissing.
playing. They're doing like the '60s dance where you just like dance when you on drugs, when you're not. But they start getting closer, and then they kiss. I was like, all right, that's PG. That's cool.
Susie was like, "Let's tongue kiss."
Yeah, right. Do you know how to French kiss? And he's like, I think so.
She said, "You put your tongue in my mouth."
Like, what's the difference? The tongues touch. And then Shawty went from 8 to 100 real quick. You can put your hand on my chest.
She didn't say it like
No,
that.
yeah. No, that's what she said. And then quickly, but what I thought was funny, was creepy as hell, but funny, when she looks down and says something about they're gonna grow her or something like that. He looks down. I was like, you know what? I need 2 handfuls. Nah, I might not
Grabs both the titties.
I might not get another chance like this.
Grabs both the titties.
But I thought that was cool that like she was how they brought music into the movie, like into the characters, because she really likes music, and so that's how they got to share it.
Yeah.
And I thought
They
the
shared
scene,
a lot of, not like similarities, but they were like open-minded to each other's ideas, and that's what I really liked about them. Like, I felt like they were really in love because she liked to read and everybody would listen.
oh no,
you
they
know?
were in love. Shawty said, I
Yeah.
might pee the bed tonight. And she
Right.
said, of course I wouldn't get offended. What?
She didn't even care. She was like, I'm not.
She didn't blink.
You gonna pee in the bed? Okay, babe.
So they run away the first time, and they get caught pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
After the whole rundown with the khaki scouts,
Mm-hmm.
and then they end up. So this is when Susie's back with her family, and Sam is with Bruce Willis. The khaki scouts up in the treehouse have a come to Jesus talk with themselves. My man got inspired real quick. He said, "Stomp." What kind of men are we? It's like, y'all aren't men at all. You like 12.
Right.
But they go to rescue him. And that's when we get to see the other bigger khaki scout camps, which I thought was kind of cool to get to see like more of the organization.
So that it doesn't just feel like, oh, it's just one khaki scout or whatever
Right.
other people were called.
It wasn't just the shadow government.
Right. Like it had some actual length to it, some story to it.
And then I thought it was cool. Like it was cute, the little moment when they got married.
Yeah,
Homeboy was like,
it was legit.
Yeah.
He was like, y'all go talk for a minute, make sure this is what you want to do.
But I thought it was really funny when they would get married. Homeboy was like, yo, can we give them the $76 in nickels? He's like, nah, I'm keeping this, homie. It's mine.
And then he was like, no, I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah, no, like, I think those moments.
It's my fee.
Yeah, like,
That's
right,
what
like,
he said.
right.
This is my fee. I just married y'all.
PIMP, put it in my pocket.
Right. What kind of container was it? He said, here, you can have
Tennis container.
A tennis container.
Tennis ball container, yeah.
You can have the tennis ball container.
So something we forgot to mention is that while this is happening, the entire island has the biggest storm in the second half of the 20th century come to the island. And we know about this because there's a character that doesn't interact with any of the other characters, the weatherman. He's present throughout the movie, giving you history about the island and weather. And at first, you're wondering like how he keys in, but you don't really like. I feel like I didn't need to know. Like that was kind of cool that you found out halfway through the movie that he was their meteorology teacher and he taught Sam Shakusky.
Right.
But his main thing was like telling y'all the stakes, and then we'll get back to the action so that you know what's coming.
Yep, telling you the time frame and all that stuff. Yeah, it was pretty dope though. I like that part about the movie because it wasn't like he was telling any of the actual movie.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then like I feel like the island was a character in itself. Mm-hmm. Like all the different terrains that they had, and like the beach. Like I thought that was super dope that you really got to see all of the island.
But the storm happened like towards the end when they ran away again.
Yeah.
And then they tried to go to what was that? The church.
Yeah, no, they went. They made it to the church where everyone was, and they were trying to wait out the storm. Yeah, they had on the mask.
Trying to wait out the storm so they didn't get caught in it. And then the officer had ended up seeing them.
But right before that happens, one of the funniest exchanges in the movie occurs when they're talking about with the social services lady, and she's like, "I'm not having it. You give the child to me, and then you stop at the talking." You know, like I represent the government. Yeah. And my man picks up the
bat,
the knee and like the knee and shit. The goddamn like with the spikes in it. Like, and what did he say? He said, he is not getting shock therapy. I was like, oh, we got Die Hard. Hell, we got Die Hard Bruce Willis back.
Yeah, he wanted that boy. But then the lights had blinked, and then the kids were going again.
Upstairs, like, and so now it's last ditch. They're just, who knows what they're doing? See, now they're acting like 12-year-olds. And they are trying to get to the top of this church, and Bruce Willis is following them. And there are real stakes. Like, I found myself like, oh, shit. Like, they better not kill one of these kids. I'm going to be mad.
I thought they all was going to die because the storm was so bad.
Right. So as Bruce Willis is going upstairs, like up the, not upstairs, up that pole, and he's trying to adopt the kid as he's going upstairs, I thought it was funny how you had Susie's parents debating the case.
Because it didn't have nothing to do with anything.
No. And then, like, their storyline was really tight because it showed you how fucked up a marriage can be. Remember when she apologized to him?
Definitely.
And then that was deep. When she said, he's like, what are you apologizing for? She's like, anything that still hurts. And he's like,
but why she just couldn't be honest?
Yeah, she should have kept it real.
Been like, yo, I'm cheating on you.
yo, you got you got this beta male shit going on. I can't have it. I'm about to get with Die Hard
This
Bruce.
not working.
I'm trying to get with Bruce.
You boring.
Yo, I like a man in a uniform. What's happening? I'm trying to get this pension. Get you a job for the city, baby.
That's funny. She was not having it. She wanted both of them for real, for real.
Yeah, I didn't feel she wanted him. I just felt that she loved her kids. She knew she couldn't fuck that family up. Divorce is 65, and I feel like it's different than. And then you on an island. What you gonna do? Move to a little hovel? You got. I was like, you're not gonna split the money up. Both y'all lawyers, with no one to be lawyers for. We didn't meet anybody else in this town. Y'all the only people that live in this town.
Right. That makes sense. No, I feel you.
And they were in separate beds. I feel like that was another like
They
period.
had 2 twin beds.
I can't sleep in. Yeah, that's. Shout out to them.
That's a twin size? Yeah, that's a twin size.
Yeah, no,
That's
they
for
were
one kid.
Yeah, maybe they was like it was 65. They would have been around during the Depression. Like my grandma used to say that she and my great grandmother used to pick. No, my great aunt used to pinch dirt and eat it, and she used to tell me that what she say about toast, that burnt toast isn't burnt. You just gotta scrape the burnt off.
Oh my god!
I feel like people all over America like felt like that after like nobody had money, maybe.
Oh.
Or you could be giving that beta male dick, and you're like, you know what? Maybe order this twin bed off Amazon real quick, Shawty. You fucking up.
No.
But I thought it was cool that one, they survived. It was a cool cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. Like because legit when you're finding out about everything that's going on afterwards. Like, the crops came back bountiful and all that stuff. The only thing I'm thinking about is, did one of these kids die? Tell me if one of these kids died.
And it was a very serious moment, too, because he had asked him to come home with him. So he was basically adopting him. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the lightning came Boom. And struck off the top of the church. So that's how they end up falling off the top of the church. And then Bruce Willis looked at Sam like, don't let go. And
that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that was a really good moment of the movie. Like, he was just letting him know that I'm here for you. I'm not going to let you go.
And he hit him with that dad voice.
Yeah, hit him with that dad voice.
No, like right before they...
Don't let go.
No. Like, before that. Like, they were about to jump. And he's like, just in case this is some suicide
he
shit.
said, no, God damn it.
Right? He's like, all right, we'll jump on 3. No, God damn it. Like, that was amazing. You felt that. Yeah, like, don't you motherfuckers move.
Right. Don't jump. Don't do it. That was crazy.
Oh, man. And can we talk about like, I know we've been talking about the music, but... Even the atmospheric music, like when she was reading, like she's reading for a lot, like several times throughout the movie, and I thought that like that brought us in to like the childlike aspect of being read to,
right?
Instead of it just being her with like the water behind her.
And then she was reading to like other kids, and that
moment with the whole trial, like that was tight when she paused and everybody like, oh, continue.
Because the first time she read to him, he went to sleep on her.
Yeah.
So he was like bored, and then he actually eventually during the movie got into it because she would read all the time. So it was just like they was really falling in love. Like, oh my gosh.
And they both moved faster at different points. Like homeboy was like, "You ready to pierce yours?" Like quick, fast.
They was agreeing on mostly everything though. It was just like they had an understanding.
And Susie is really not fucking with her mom.
No.
It's like still, I hate you. Like, for real.
Don't say that. No, I mean it.
Now what she say? She said, "I know what you do with that sad, dumb cop." She's like, "He's sad, but he ain't dumb." Actually, you're too young. Don't acknowledge that I answered your question.
I already said too much.
Right. But that's why. But that's why she ended it with dude.
Yeah.
And then she did some whole shit that I disagree with. When she's breaking up with dude, she's like, "Goodbye. This is it." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Okay, this is the right decision." He gets in the car, and then she rolls back up on him. "I'm probably gonna see you tomorrow, bitch. You are not gonna see me tomorrow.
Right.
You
like,
can't.
You're doing too much. Like, what you gonna do? You gonna cut? What you gonna do? Barbecue or mildew?"
Or like when they were talking, when they were searching, it's like, "Did you hit him?" "Nah, he fell in a ditch."
He did look bad though. I was like, damn.
The whole movie, and he would just say, "Oh, the shit he did in that movie was so funny to me. Like, they find the sardine can. He's like, "Yep, that's her." He just starts walking off into the distance. Where is he going? I don't know. I'm gonna go into the backyard and find a tree to chop
But he
down.
was doing weird stuff. Like it was just like
when they asked him about his
nobody
kid.
knew. Yeah.
Like, are you concerned that your daughter's missing? I don't know. That's a loaded question.
Right. Like,
Do you care? Do you not? And them,
yes or no.
And them kids is little Hitler's youth. You're a traitor to our family. Good.
Right. I want to be.
That reminded me of the scene from Baby Boy when Snoop Dogg kicks that little kid's fort. Fuck your fort, little nigga. I hate you. Where's my?
I hate you too.
Shouts out to Baby Boy,
Right.
a problematic hood classic. They should not have stayed together. So to close up, we drop fire emojis out of 5 on this podcast. How many fire emojis you dropping on this one?
I'm gonna drop 5 on this one.
5 on this one?
Yeah.
Why? Like why? And if,
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Because at the ending of this movie, like she still snuck this man. She still stuck Sam in the house.
Oh yeah, in
And
the
he
little
was
cop
painting-
uniform.
He could paint, y'all. I don't even know if we told y'all that, but he could paint, and it was like watercolors and stuff. So he had painted where they were going to, and they named it Moonrise Kindgom. So it was just like he had created this whole little life for them, and then he just painted it after they've already lived it. And it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I got emotional. Like, that was so cute. He was like, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
And I can't front. Most of the times that I've fallen asleep on that movie, I've turned it off after the lightning. So I just assumed they died, bro.
Oh, my God.
That's why I never finished the movie. I'm like, I'm not trying to see the aftermath. And then like, that, you talk about a plot twist. I'm glad we stuck around
Definitely
this
a
time.
plot twist.
Man, I thought it was cool.
It's a love story, for real, for real.
Yeah. And I thought it's a love story, like, it's between two kids, but it doesn't always feel like that.
Yeah. It's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing.
You know, that's that remake with Leonardo DiCaprio. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. That's cheesy, but that's a good one. I'll just think about that. But
So how many fire emojis you gonna give on Moonrise Kindgom?
I'm gonna have to, I hate to be a schlep, but I'm gonna have to give it. You know what? I might have to give it 5 because like they really stuck the landing.
Yes, definitely.
Like, I think that the strength of the third act really surprised me, and then like with the storm, like it made for some cool moments. Like when that guy kind of gets redemption, Ed Norton, after he gets dressed down by the head of the Khaki Scouts. Mm-hmm. And then the flood hits, and those fireworks go off, and he saves that man's life.
That man, yeah.
Like that was kind of like everybody got like their moment to shine in a heroic light. Even the little, even like the shithead kids,
But he had to do that after he had got stripped of his badge. Like,
oh yeah,
he had to do something to redeem himself.
Oh yeah,
so he definitely got his redemption.
I was just wondering to myself the whole time. On a side note, why is this brother still standing there? If you take my pocket knife, nigga, I'm hitting that Uber, bro. What the fuck?
Right.
Exactly.
Deuces.
So to close out, like, I want you to give me one recommendation. It could be a movie coming out that you're excited for. It could be a movie that you've seen. Just one movie that you feel people should care about.
He put me on the spot. But
Not your favorite movie.
no, I'm not gonna say my favorite movie, but Black Panther was a really good movie.
Okay.
Like, it really had, young black kids wanting to be like superheroes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that really did something to my heart. So definitely Black Panther.
Okay. And one movie I saw pretty recently that I would definitely suggest is Yeah, no. I put myself on the spot.
Exactly.
Oh, a movie that stood out to me that I really liked, that I think that hasn't gotten enough attention is Meet the Blacks. Like, it's a random movie, but as far as movies, like, I like the true and tried edition of black filmmakers and comedians making movies for cheap that are still funny as hell.
Okay.
Like people, like Friday was still made for like $200,000. Like people forget that some of the most celebrated black movies were made in this style, and it's not a classic, but it brought so many different actors and characters together. It was like a Friday. Like all the scenes with Mike Epps and Michael Blackson, like it's one of the. I like comedy, but it's rare that I'm like falling out laughing. And I was falling out laughing. So yeah, I'll definitely suggest Meet the Blacks.
Okay.
And everything with Michael Blackson in it is funny. Like there's never too many
he
moras
is funny.
socas,
You motherfuckers.
beach niggas. So hey, y'all, thanks for coming through and kicking it with us. This has been Smoking at the Movies. Y'all stay easy.